This is not the weapon type I expected to be giving the honour of a meta title, yet here we are. Skills 2.0 has completely redefined the secondary role, with everyone bar the Justicar, which is categorised as a shotgun, benefiting from a branch of handgun skills that provide more utility to the player than the rest of the trees combined. With the exclusive ability to regenerate resources via kills, taking on many of the marking elements old Assassin used to bring to Skills 1.0, it's probably the most unique weapon playstyle in the game. This can obviously be splashed into any build, ideally one already using flashbangs to keep earning more tools and throwables, or you can go all in and turn your secondary pistol of all things into a complete one-shotting machine. This is the second of a massive 13 builds I've produced to keep Skills 2.0 nice and fresh. If you're interested in checking out the playlist, it's available down in the description, with all 13 of them now out to patrons and channel members. Now out the way, let's dive into how I'd craft this inexplicably monstrous pistol-only setup. Alright, let's dive immediately into the skills for this pistol meta build. Unfortunately, we have to go up the Juggernaut tree. This is just a sad necessity of most builds in the game. In fact, there's very few where I won't be grabbing something along the lines of extra protection aced, even though the ace part's doing literally nothing for me. Headguard, which is alright, it's a weird skill because it gets cancelled out by any instance of damage, but if we do have overheal, we can use this to bring back our impact plate a little faster, so it's alright. I pick up a single point in Rifleman. Don't think this does anything, but we are using an Assault Rifle primary, so maybe that 0.1 penetration will do something. And then finally, Beast of Burden. It's just a necessity pickup most of the time. I think this skill should be base kit, and instead we should just get a serious movement speed penalty when carrying multiple bags. It would just make the game better in my eyes. Moving on to where we spend most of our skills, this is the hacker tree. It's built around pistols effectively. So we ace out Bullseye. I'm not so sure about acing this out. The accuracy bonus doesn't sound that nice on paper, but if you're using a little bit of a different secondary like the Tribune, that accuracy can be nice for taking out snipers more consistently over range. Then we grab a couple of points here in Quick Draw and Stockpile, but we sadly hit a wall. Fortunately, Flashpoint saves us because we also want flashbangs in this build, so we can start by acing out Shine On. Cheap Trick. One of the most important skills in your entire setup. Shooting stunned enemies with the handgun deals double damage. Just an 100% damage increase, multiplicative on top of all the other damage we're going to be getting, including from Bullseye, which is obviously giving us bonus damage against marked targets and regular targets, but it's really the 10% damage against marked targets which is going to very much impact gameplay. Spatial Awareness, this is Assassin's Metal from Payday, well, from Skills 2.1 I should say. Very strong healing effect. We're going to need this, it's one of our primary sources of survivability. As long as we are killing with our pistol, we're going to stay alive. It's simple as that. Bounty Hunter, this skill is maybe the most broken skill in the game. Most importantly, every single time we hit a marked target, a marked special enemy other than shields, we gain some sort of special effect. So with Zappers, we restore a tool. With Naders, we restore a throwable. Those are the two most important ones. This is how we're going to cover the entire heist in trip lasers, and we're going to have a constant uptime on flashbangs. Mega strong. Now, we ace this out, it gets doubled. In the upcoming 2.1 patch for Skills 2.0, we are going to see a change to Bounty Hunter where this first effect is split across the basic and aced effect. I think, and of course the doubling is going to disappear, I think the basic version at that point is going to be more than enough, because I think the most powerful part is the tool and the throwable. But for now, whilst it exists and whilst it's broken, being able to kill a marked nader and gain back 2 flashbangs is too good to miss out on. When they change it, I say drop down to just the 1 point low. Moving on to the Flashpoint tree again. I do think it's probably worth running Stockpile Aced. I normally avoid this with things like 3-plate builds, but increasing to 6 potential flashbangs at a time does make a difference. It's more space effectively to regenerate flashbangs into. Flash Mob is a straight skip skill. This is mostly built around silent or hostage gameplay. I don't think I'd bother with it most of the time regardless. Hypersensitive is going to allow our flashbangs to explode on impact when we actually hit someone with them. Really useful, a little bit of a skill element I suppose to it as well, and it also doubles the duration, meaning we're getting way more out of Cheap Trick. Spotlight is going to allow us to mark with our flashbangs and increase the ammo drop when killing those marked targets. This is why stockpile ace isn't really necessary. We're going to pick up enough ammo most of the time with our handgun. But again, this is the key synergy with spatial awareness and with bounty hunter. It's how we're going to keep everything marked. And because we have so many skills in the flashbang tree, those flashbangs are going to have massive radiuses. So expect most things to be marked in a single throw. Finally, Sunburn, we ace this out as well. It's even more multiplicative damage to double with Cheap Trick, which is powerful in and of itself, but most importantly, it's going to strip enemies' armor layers. What that means is, most enemies are going to go down to 2 or 3 armor layers when hit by a flashbang, allowing the next body shot from most of the handguns in the game to one-shot kill. If that isn't busted, I don't know what is. The final skill in this set of trees is High Marks. Because we're going to be marking so consistently, we're often going to have in and around this 40% damage reduction. That's a huge amount of damage reduction, by the way. Ridiculous. I'd love to ace it out and give it to the crew, but again, points are a really tight commodity in this build, and we just don't have that opportunity to. If we were to, say, drop Beast of Burden, it's a possibility, but I just think being able to carry 2 bags at once is way too important a stat to have. Finally, we have Conman. You can already tell we've not really invested in an equipment type. We don't desperately need to, but this is nice because it augments some of our overheal. We grab Doctor's Orders, really nice healing passive. Field Medic 2 for the extra medic bag and extra charge. Field Medic 1 for 1 more charge. And then I think Pain Tolerance again. It's a 30% damage reduction on your adrenaline. Feels useful enough to be worth the pickup. I'm still testing it. I'm still not positive it is the best use of my skill points, but for now it feels like it's, on paper at least, the best way to use those final 2 points. That is the build as far as the skills are concerned. The weapons you might see in the gameplay, I switch things up. I think the Tribune is amazing. I think most of the pistols in the game are amazing. For those who don't know, any handgun is either something in the revolver or pistol category. Shotgun does not count, the Justicar benefits from shotgun skills instead. But yeah, so Tribune, Jackknife, all fantastic. The Picchio Juro even, if you want to one-burst everything. But, for efficiency's sake, I would say the Sig 40 is the way to go. This thing is totally busted with this combination. The ammo pickup, the damage, it's all exactly where you want it to be. It's way, way, way too strong. I don't want to see the Sig 40 nerfed, obviously it's like the iconic starting pistol, but right now it might be doing a little too much. Now, this build's only slight issue is against bulldozers. It does okay against them, but the Adderlig isn't going to do fantastic work. By the way, the primary can be any weapon of your choice. I think the assault rifles hold up okay without skills, so it is my personal preference, but pick whatever you want here. But because I think we have a harder time against dozers than any other enemy type, I think this is a Red Fox build. Run the Red Fox, 2-shot dozers if you hit their faceplate, really useful, saves the signature from having to go to work on them, and it also saves a lot of its ammo capacity to be used on the things you can actually one-shot where it feels immensely useful. Other than that, we run the MegTech single impact frame. We might as well, it's going to give us the most overall benefit, I would say. The fastest recharging impact armor, meaning we do actually get something out of Headguard for a change. Flashbang grenades, obviously. Medic bags, obviously. Trip lasers are my go-to, but you can just as easily run the motion sensor if you prefer that. You find these hard to place, like me. I think eventually there might be an ECM jammer version of this build when they finally buff electrical interference, but for the time being I think the way to go is Trip Laser. You can cover the entire map with lasers, and you will be marking everything after killing a few zappers. Super powerful build, possibly the best in the game. Give it a go. I'm going to show you the gameplay as to why it's so powerful. I've got to say, when I was drawing up the list of builds, I didn't anticipate I'd be sitting here talking about pistols in such depth the day after Skills 2.0 came out, but here we are. They might be a little too good at the moment. Before I wax lyrical about our handgun options though, I should probably talk about the real glue that's holding this setup together, the quiet hero that is the flashbang. I'm not gonna lie, throwables might just have been the biggest winners of this skills overhaul. Pretty much across the board, they are all monstrous now, with some of the key synergies and mechanics that really drive these builds I've put together. The flashbang is no different, providing handguns with not only a constant source of marking via Spotlight, turning on 3 of its most important skills, but also the stun synergy for Cheap Trick, quite literally doubling their damage. With everything calculated, my pistols are dealing 100% more damage thanks to Sunburn, 100% more thanks to Bullseye and Spotlight's marking effect, on top of Cheap Trick doubling that potential damage. With Sunburn aced also stripping half their armor, our pistols even have enough damage to one-shot shields to the body. Admittedly, dozers remain an issue as the flashbang debuffs don't appear to apply, but even so we have more than enough pistol damage to get the job done most of the time, with a red fox in our back pocket if things do get a little dicey. Of course, in the future, with the changes coming to Bounty Hunter and Smokes being able to mark again from January, it's possible we'll see other throwables take over from the flashes, but right now, it's a synergy just too irresistible to pass up on. Also, I have to give a special shout out to Highmarks. I love this tech skill. It's one of my favourite examples of the cross-tree system actually functioning as intended, allowing me to specialise in a floating 40% damage reduction skill at just a 3-point cost, giving this damage and crowd control focused build that pinch of survivability to get through with only very light armour, keeping spatial awareness turned on at all times. I also don't know if I've emphasised this enough, but there's a very good reason why Bounty Hunter is being nerfed. The ability to generate 2 new tools and throwables at the drop of a hat, especially with how common most tasers and naders are on Overkill now, with their current spawn rate, is utterly insane. I've mostly tested solo, meaning it's hard to say how this will feel when competing for kills in an online lobby, but for at least in this environment, it's the most broken single skill investment you can make in my opinion, totally warping the game's resource economy, and that's without even getting into its ability to heal the player, their armor, and even get back downs with relative ease. Genuinely a baffling skill that was evidently tied to pistols to hold them back. Little did they know, pistols will be one-shotting the world on release day of Skills 2.0. Finally, since I've touched on those handguns a lot without really giving my detailed thoughts on the weapon class, I think it's fairly straightforward. If you're running them as a true secondary, say with just Bounty Hunter or even vanilla in a different weapon class build, you'll still do really well with the powerful options from Skills 1.0. The Deagle, the Jackknife, even options in the revolver category do still hit the key breakpoints required to function as able secondaries. However, if you intend to build around the handgun class, as I have here, you'd be silly to not look towards the lower damage suite of options, bearing in mind that you barely need any base damage to one-shot most cops following a flash. The strike is a little too low in my experience, requiring, shock horror, 2 shots to the body in certain situations, but the Signature 40, the starting pistol if you can believe it, ticks all of my boxes. One-shot potential, excellent handling, decent sized mag, it's a dream of a weapon up there with the best primaries in Payday 3's history in my opinion. However, other fun options include the Tribune 32, which quite frankly is a better SMG than most SMGs in the game when fully decked out with handgun skills, two-shotting the world whilst also being fully automatic. Switch between the two, depending on whether you favour precision or spray and pray gameplay in that moment, and profit. All the broken interactions of Skills 1.0's FSA with just a fraction of the guilt. My pick for top build and well worth trying even if you're not a handgun fanatic. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out the ever-expanding Skills 2.0 playlist down in the description, and whilst you're there, have a glance at my Apex Gaming PCs, also available from the link just below the like button. This 13 build creation process has been quite the undertaking. I truly hope you're enjoying so far. Stay tuned for the next one and let me know what you think of them. Is Dodge doing it for you? If not, maybe tomorrow's DMR setup with this new version of Graze will. Take care, and I'll see you all then. A huge thank you to my dedicated Patreon backers. If you want to join this crew in going infamous, check out the link below and pledge as little as $2 to see your name in the credits, or get 24-hour early access to future videos and vote on upcoming content. Take care, I'll see you all soon.